Awaken Cohort.
And welcome back to another episode of Starfleet Command, Orion Pirates Plus Mod. I'm Admiral Tarek, the new heavy cruiser GCS Protector, as we continue our campaign against the Klingon Star Empire. And the Klingons have been counterattacking hard, pushing us back, not quite into our own space, after all our own space is over here, but pushing back on our little bit of our control area. So let's continue to shove back on them. We just need to quickly double check, make sure that our ship is fully kitted out. We do have our pseudo frigates, and we were missing a single spare part. But now that we're ready to rock and roll, let us set out into space and see if we can't hold the line, and then perhaps beyond that, assault the enemy line. We actually do want to push past here. We have had a number of setbacks in the past couple of episodes. The Klingons have proven to be incredibly aggressive and capable of throwing us back quite heavily. So we're going to have to get in here as quickly as we can, hopefully to shove them back on their heels and annihilate them in their entirety. We're being escorted today by the GCS Fang, as well as the Hurl, which is way off in the distance, probably for the best because it's not particularly well equipped. The Fang should help out a little bit. The enemy has detected we're dealing with a frigate, and a freighter, apparently. Wait, really? Huh. Interesting. Honestly, the freighter shouldn't be all that dangerous, although it does appear to be a light cruiser. I'm not quite sure whether or not I should believe my eyes. Plasma torpedoes set them to enveloping mode. And let's continue to accelerate. We do, of course, want to get there relatively soon, although our plasma torpedoes may not be ready now that I've spent most of that time not charging them in the proper mode, which did set them back pretty considerably. We're going to get some scans on both of these as we come soaring on through, and we will be able to deploy our pseudo-frigates shortly. So you have a pair of plasma F torpedoes. How about this freighter? You also have a pair of F-type plasma torpedoes. We're going to start to slow down, give us a little bit of time, and then we are going to attack and attack. And they should be at a distance far enough that we shouldn't have to worry about them getting killed. Do I have overloaded phasers? I do, so I should have overloaded them, but our pseudo-frigates should have a fun time nailing them quite heavily. Hopefully. Cross your fingers. There they go. They're ready for combat. Just unloading on the enemy. It looks like the Hurl has actually managed to show up, so good job there for being on point. And let's lob an enveloping plasma torpedo and perhaps another enveloping plasma torpedo. We'll find out. Yeah, another enveloping plasma torpedo. That'll deal with him without too much more trouble. So we've destroyed 2 ships in the space of 0 time at all, which will allow us to put on to the next one. Which you have 2 plasma torpedoes. You have a single plasma torpedo. Are you going to have him dead anytime soon, or do I need to get involved? Hopefully not. After all, you are a fairly decent frigate on your own part. Laying into the back of him, damaged him quite heavily, knocked out one of his plasma 2 mounts in its entirety. That's both systems offline. We're going to just slow right down over here. In fact, I'm also going to call in my pseudo-frigates, tell them it is time to come home. Get back on board. I don't want to have to risk you out there in the black beyond. There we go. That's what I was hoping for. And we'll increase the speed of time as we come in for the last one. We shouldn't have too much trouble wiping him out. So once we get him completely handled, we should have a successful mission on our hands. So I have started making concrete efforts towards the first modded version of this game, and we've started doing a TNG mod. I've started going through and coming through the massive model folder that I have, because about a year and a half? Yeah, it feels like a year and a half ago, I downloaded a whole bunch of model packs for Starfleet Command, and some of them of varying quality, but recently we have started to triage to see which ones are good quality and which ones are not. We're starting to build up a bit of a ship list, or ship class list, I suppose, would be the more proper answer for TNG, which we'll probably start incorporating into the streams, although that's probably going to be a couple of weeks, if not a month or so away. After all, we have several changes coming along, so being able to start off a brand new project may be a little bit ambitious, but I want to try it. Set our plasma torpedoes to enveloping. Also, I still need to get that frigate video out, which reminds me, I still need to actually come up with a frigate to use, because a whole bunch of light cruisers, not a whole bunch of frigates, because the New Orleans is, well, there's no real good model of it that I've found so far, but I have literally hundreds of models at this point that I'm still combing through. We've started our first steps, but it's going to take quite some time. Anyway, on to the current battle at hand. There is an HF5XC1, so an alphabet soup destroyer, and an F5DX, which is not an alphabet soup destroyer. It is in fact a fairly normal style, whatchamacallit, a thingamabob frigate. So, wait, we're fighting, of course we're fighting Klingons. I thought for a second we were fighting Romulans. I'm not quite sure where that came from. Let's pick, oh yeah, because we were just fighting Romulans. Got a little bit confused on that. Let's pick up the pace to maximum speed. But yeah, as part of that mod, one of the things that I'm having to start to wonder about is not all, in fact most of the races in the base game do not have a TNG counterpart, but there are other factions like, say, the Borg and the Breen are more accurately, the Dominion, and the Cardassians, which could come in and replace a few factions. Luckily enough, just as an aside, someone actually did make TNG versions of the Mirak, which I am just so happy about, because it means I get to keep my favorite faction in the game. So we're going to come on over, and there's also fairly interesting designs for several of the other races. I'm actually kind of looking forward to it once I finally get around to building it. It'll probably at first just be a cosmetic mod, so it'll just look differently, which that in itself is going to be really painful because of the amount of effort that is going to take in order to get everything ready to go, because there's literally thousands of ships in Fire Souls mod. So, but on the bright side, it'll be a fun project to get going through. Alright, lots of fire coming into our forward shield, but we should be able to slow down perfectly, and hi. Okay, point defense tractor beams have initiated. We have stripped away his shields entirely. He is at our mercy. He's actually not, because he's going to be able to get away from this current little beam connection thing that we have going here. Yep. And I did not overload my phasers, I don't think, so let's give him a little bit more damage. Let him know that we don't want him getting away. We've got him mostly handled at this point. The point defense phasers, well, mostly I've been stealing all the power made for point defense phasers. Alright, we got him. Who's the last one? Oh, it's you. You're still at basically full health. Is that a real plasma torpedo? It absolutely was. I'm not going to be able to defend myself with this one, so point defense, activate. So I would love to be able to shoot with my phasers, but that's probably not going to happen. A couple of long-range plasma torpedoes able to get in on target. One of the things I had considered was trying to anchor him with plasma, but it was not required. Okay, show me that listening post. It's over here. Lovely. Can I get the target, please? We'll just cycle through friendlies. There we go. Alright, so we have successfully dealt with all the enemies on the map, so at this point, I'm just going to set red, yellow alert and rock and roll at full speed, because why not? At this point, we don't need anything else, and also the full speed of time. So we are, of course, going to have to leave the map as well, but that'll work out fine. Has anyone else noticed? The music is good, but the music is incredibly loud. Apparently my sound settings reset themselves just a little bit. So we're going to get onto this listening post, we're going to tag it, and then we're going to leave the map, and no one will be the wiser. But yeah, also alongside like determining whether or not certain races are going to return or not, or be different races, as the case may end up being, the other question becomes, where do I slot certain ships? I mean, we've got sovereigns and galaxies and nebulas and ambassadors, and really most of the Federation Navy is primed to be completely and totally overhauled. When the question becomes, where does all of those ships fit? In fact, I was speaking with my brother recently on this one, and he was adamant that the Galaxy class should be a heavy cruiser, which I can kind of understand the thinking. I always had thought of it more as a dreadnought role, but he kind of made an argument. But I'd be interested in hearing what you guys think, where different ship types from TNG would sort of fit into what sort of classes they'd be, because that ought to be quite interesting to figure out. The data transfer is complete. We have stolen all the information and have left successfully. We have stolen all the spy data, and hopefully it's not actually corrupted, which, you know, can actually happen in this game. The data transfer to the listening post contains scientific research. Lovely. Start to put a little bit... Oh, this is Kronos, I forgot. Oh, that would explain why we're running into so many B-11 battleships, because this is Kronos. Okay, well, with that in mind, let's head off over in this direction to poke at one of your star bases. Empire Defense at 25, we can work with that. An Enigma mission, a perfect mission for us to go on. Enigma missions are very safe. After all, you don't have to worry about too much while you're trying to undertake them, because the enemy will not actually attempt to fight you. Overload the phasers. Not defensive. Enveloping, please. Enveloping plasma torpedoes and kick on the maximum speed that I can actually get to. You went an interesting setup? Whatever. So let us increase the speed of time. Does this bird of prey have anything interesting worth stealing on board? That's the true question. It does not, so we can basically ignore it and target on this bird of prey. Lovely. Give me more power. It says the phaser capacitor has finished charging, which just frees up so much juice for us to be able to use for other things. So make sure that we prepare an actual tractor beam, as well as come in here for the full forward shield reinforcement that we're going to need. Make sure that tractor beam actually charged. It did. Lovely. Hi, you're dead, and I think you know it. because you are just coming right in front of me. The Demon Slayer. And he's gone. Perfect. Okay, around to the last one. Well, not the last one. The shutdown Enigma target, which we're just gonna basically run right over. Hi. And, well, unfortunately, bye. Well, not unfortunate for us, but for you. Didn't quite kill him. Interesting. A little bit more fire, and then the universe got involved. It said, you are just taking way too long at this. One thing I've got to remember that we've got pseudo-frigates. We can use the pseudo-frigates. As long as we remember that, we'll be safe. Although we can't, you know, promise anything. 144 prestige is, of course, our reward. 20 he's down to. And we'll pop over here, say hi to the Federation, who apparently have either pushed across the neutral zone or the Klingons pushed across the neutral zone. I'm going to guess the Federation made inroads. And that's probably another location that we want, that combination station planet that'll help anchor that flank of the line, connect us with the Federation nice and tightly so that the enemy will not be able to push us away, overload all the ship systems, and actually give us some speed. We do, of course, want to go places. That would be kind of important. Wait for the shields to fully charge up, and that'll give us just enough power to do other things. Additional power, of course, to the shields for our own protection. And we will go a-hunting. A-hunting we shall go. And as soon as our phaser capacitor is fully charged, we'll have a metric ton of power. Send the probe! Is it just you? Am I currently raiding the Klingon freighter group? Which I'm not opposed to. After all, we did, of course, run into some of their dreadnought fleets, which was rather terrifying. And we took care of them handily. They could not stop us. So this is going to be another mission where basically we're going to run into him, hit him with the tractor beam, and just annihilate him. Because, buddy, I've got more than enough shields to handle anything you... Okay, maybe not anything you've got. You can do 40 damage potentially with your phasers. So there is that going for him. And the IKV Nemesis. Very aggressive name. Oh, I didn't even need the phasers. Just plasma torpedo all day, air day. When you've got a pair of R-type plasma torpedoes and you're only barely in the heavy cruiser class, you're quite powerful. I suppose we're not barely in the heavy cruiser class. We, after all, do have 9 phaser X's. Just kind of feels that way, you know, because we only have 2 plasma torpedoes. 120 prestige is, of course, our reward for a job well done. 5 Empire Defense remaining. Let's start our little bit of a siege. A planetary assault. That's exactly what we want to do with our cruiser. That is not true at all. Although we're okay equipped for it, sort of. Let's go Defense Condition 1 and overload all the systems. Who do we have for friends on this one? We are being escorted today by USS Missouri and the USS Kev, which is a Kirov-class battlecruiser. So we have an NVS, new strike carrier, as well as a BCG, which will be quite handy to help us out on this one. Currently squaring off against us currently is a TWL, which is a triple-ness LD5, so nothing too terrifying at the moment. Let's make sure we don't forget our forward shield reinforcement. That's going to be very important, especially against the planet, assuming, of course, we can, you know, maintain that. And almost ready with the probe. There we go. And that will free up all kinds of stuff. Reinforce just the forward shield. That's all I need. Also give me a little bit of electronic countermeasure, because I do want to be somewhat protected from the incoming death that is no doubt on its way. So we've got a whole bunch of information, basically that he's all on his lonesome, and yeah, you are a pretty... I can't call you sad, because you've got a lot of phaser X's. You've got 10 phaser X's, you do, and a quartet of AMDBs no less. So the 4 missile launchers and the 4 disruptors, this is not a terrible low-end ship. Terrible low-end ship? Whatever. So we're going to continue along our way. Of course, we need to tractor and drag. That will be the primary way in which we, you know, remove him from the equation. I don't know what kind of planet it is, but historically that tends to be a PLPH, but that's not a guarantee of anything. After all, there's so many different planets that it could be literally anything. Alright, so a couple of good hits with proximity photon torpedoes on the target. He's opened fire on us. How's our shield reinforcement doing? Quite nicely, able to handle that without too much trouble. Is he going to come in for me? He is. Lovely. The Dare Slayer. Oh, it's just a PL2, so it has no armor. There you go. Completely handled. I'll keep holding on to him. Give him a chance to fire missiles on him if he wants. Okay, he made us let go. That is unfortunate. So we'll pass right over him. His AMD is just vicious. He's managing to hurt my shields on several locations, but I think he's about to die. Don't know what gives me that impression, but it might be the massive fighter squadrons that are on the way. Nope, the Kiev got it way before anything else. Alright, time to bombard the planet. The planet is helpless before us. We shall just show up and annihilate it. Instead, I'm going to go 0 and 0. We'll set it up later on when we actually get relatively close to the planet, but for now we want to accelerate at maximum speed. The fighters are outpacing me. The one thing we do, of course, need to be worried about is we don't want to accidentally, run into the planet. We are a... Ooh, wow, that's looking to be mighty close. Start to slow down. Start to slow down. I don't actually know if I touch that, if I'll die or not. Because it certainly looks like I'm about to touch it. Oh, apparently it's a total optical illusion because of the way that arcs down. It just looks like I'm about to touch it. I don't want to touch the planet. Very much like to avoid it. Gotta watch this number because it's very hard to read green on turquoise. Or, yeah, it is green on turquoise. So, start to slow well down. Plasma torpedoes away. Let's just start causing lots of damage. Alright. We are almost within a range of 5, which will be optimal range for us. And I'm gonna stop here. Because I am too much of a scaredy cat to get any closer. Alright, just keep firing on them, and we will bombard the planet into doom and dust. With enough firepower, we can crack this egg. They are apparently crippled. We have annihilated most of the defenses at this point. We could try and get closer for our phaser 3s, but I feel no major reason to do that. We'll just continue to bore through with the plasma Rs, which deal 201 damage. Ah, it's beautiful. How many Marines were we still dealing with? 2. Okay, we're done. Send to the Marines. All handled. Lovely. So now we just wait for our Marines to finish capturing the planet itself, and then we can be fully completed on this one. A nice, successful, easy planetary assault, although they tend to be easy when the planet isn't actually defended. If the planet suddenly, becomes defended, things could get a little bit more sticky. We'll have to avoid that, because we want to avoid stickiness. And successfully taking the Marines? Come on, you've got it. Go, my lizard people. It's a nice, warm, equatorial planet. Clearly, I can tell that from here. So you should have no trouble whatsoever of maneuvering through the entire area. After all, the Klingons aren't going to fight you that hard. There we go. Successfully captured. So a nice planetary assault. And apparently something blew up. Wasn't me, was it? Job well done. Efficiency 100%. No, the ship exploded. Okay. Well, every so often there's glitches, but that's a pretty dumb glitch. We're in an X-type plasma destroyer, so clearly, okay, what I'm gonna call that lore-wise, that's not a glitch. Nothing went wrong or crazy, no sir. What actually happened was they called us back in because they needed a special kind of captain to command their brand new X-type plasma destroyer. Which, to be fair, we weren't super psyched about because, we were kind of very happy with our medium cruiser. We thought that it was a perfect fit for us with a fairly decent heavy plasma torpedo complement backed up by a fairly powerful phaser complement. But I suppose you need a test pilot, and so they called us. Let us set out into space and cause a little bit more havoc. If we can lock this planet down, separate from all the friends, then we can have a good time. Well, we're going to have a good time regardless. They may not have a good time, but that's their problem. Ooh, I don't think I've ever actually seen... That is actually pretty trippin'. Huh. That's pretty cool. Okay. I've never actually seen the plasma destroyer, I don't think. Although I must have. I've just never looked at it all that closely. So this is our brand new ship. Not bad. In terms of look-wise, she's a looker. Oh, yeah, but we spawned in these close assault spawn positions. So let's actually get this ship ready for full-on combat. We can increase our speed just a little bit more because we have power. And this is power while still having other things. All right, let's get that forward shield reinforcement because we're actually going to need it. And being an X-type cruiser, oh, we got power for days. So phaser, we have way for it. Well, we do only have 8 phaser. So we have 2 Gatlings, 8 phaser X's. That is set on properly. And 2 G's, 2 F's, and a D. And then that's just a weird combination of things. So we haven't set any of our plasma torpedoes to enveloping mode just yet. And our plasma armament is numerous, but not particularly terrifying. Let's get some phaser fire going down. We have managed to open him out quite nicely. And just bouncing that, no trouble at all. So we are maintaining a speed of 9, which is rather slow, although now that I'm actually looking at it, we have 4 plasma Gs, 2 Fs. That right there is a lot of plasma. So we've got 120 damage worth of plasma, and we are a destroyer. So that's not bad at all. Okay, let's go see if we can't grab onto him and make him cry. Most of our plasma torpedoes are, well, actually, no, most of our plasma torpedoes are envelopable? And actually, we have a plasma double mount, the rare plasma double mount. Hi, plasma torpedoes. Overload. Oh, that was pretty. I liked that a lot. I really liked how that one turned out. Okay, let's go get things done. Increase the speed of time. So we have we haven't actually lost a whole heck of a lot of firepower. We've lost massive siege. Have we? Ooh, so 80. Because we have 4 Gs, 80 becomes 160 plus 40. 200 damage. Actually, we haven't actually lost any firepower. Like, literally, we have not lost any firepower. In fact, we gained firepower in non-enveloping mode. We also have 1 less phaser, but we've also got Gatling phasers. So, did we really lose anything important? And we got a D-type plasma torpedo. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say we picked up some pretty significant firepower. What is the arc of that? Wow. That Gatling phaser apparently has a super narrow arc, but then we were able to use it. Alright, next target. Let's continue to operate around maximum speed time, as we appear to be doing. You're good. You. Slow down the speed time. Hi, I'm not gonna use my plasma because I didn't set this up properly. So, hopefully you'll die just from my phaser assault. And the Gatling phaser. Oh, that's just a beautiful amount of damage right there, and the fighter should be able to take him out, no problem. Come over here, let's lock onto you. But yeah, the amount of plasma we shove out of this ship is really cool, actually. I quite like that. So hi, we're about to bump, and once we bump, I can do that. I really like this ship. Okay, so initially we were quite skeptical, but you know what? I'm gonna have to take that back, Gorn High Command. You have given me a very, very fascinating vessel to work with. It's just kind of ridiculous to be able to just shovel that much plasma into somebody's face. We're dead. Last one? I think it is. Alright, let's just get on up here. Also, we have some fairly serious plasma arcs. I can't believe we have a double mount plasma torpedo. That's just really cool to me. There we go. Slow them down. And flood the plasma. Mission complete, successful all around. So our brand new test of our brand new technology. So yeah, good things came in an interesting package. But that's going to do it for today's episode. I've been Mirak. If you like what you've been seeing, hit that like button and subscribe. If you want to see the notification every time I post one of these videos, press that little bell icon. Leave a comment. What do you think of the brand new Wervicon? I think it's a very interesting side grade. We've got more plasma firepower. Kind of more phaser firepower too when you think about it, because it looks like most of our phaser X's can fire forward too. And yeah, that's a fairly interesting ship. So let me know what you think about the ship. And anyway, I will see you all in the next episode.